I remember this particular session and then Usher walks in.
Was working with some of the biggest, Chris Brown, Ariana Grande.
We've done our 10,000 hours with some change. Alexandra Burke, Tiny Temper, Emily Sande, and these little boys from Southeast London are in LA.
Yeah. That sacrifice of, not being able to see your family and, see your nieces and nephews.
The A&R told us we would never be successful making R&B music. Ariana Grande, this album changed our life. Are you ready?
Okay.
Whoa. Do you know what's so mad? The cheekbones are mad. Yeah, I have in front.
No beard thing, it's mad still.
Waves were on fleek though. I was like 15, 16 around this time. This is Ola. This is Ola. This is the deputy head boy, good at school, music, firstborn. This is him. Like Southeast London from Lewisham, man. Wow. I'm looking at him, looking at me. I'm like, look at this guy. What a time. I'm looking at him just like, what was he trying to figure out? I think he was trying to figure out himself at them times. He was trying to figure out this music thing, because at that time I was trying to be an artist. I was actually trying to sing and do them things around there. Yeah, bro. Okay. Well, go ahead.
Wow. Interesting. The ice cream is crazy.
Bro, why are you angry?
I was always angry.
Mad.
That's when I think about that picture, I just think about always wanting, this kid wanting to prove something.
Point.
He wanted to prove something. Moses Samuels, Southeast London, Thamesmead, Nigerian. Yeah, lost kid in some sort of way. Lost. And not lost in the sense where I was off the rails in any way, but just lost in who I should be, or who I think I should be, and who I'm being told to be. That's who that person is. Mad. Color coordinated.
Waves, was this Waves, man?
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. This was, if you had any form of high hair, bro, you was going to hell, bro.
Okay, yeah. That was the conversation back then.
What you see now, bro, this is the...
You're a heathen.
Yeah, heathen, literally, this kid here, bro.
Mad.
The rebellious streak was in there. He was about to start testing the waters, but yeah, he was, wow, man.
It's crazy, I look at this, I was about 9. So with me and music, I started my relationship with music from the age of 5. My dad was the drummer at the church, and he literally just picked me up and said, okay, this is all you're gonna know from now on. And from the ages of 5 till about 25, that was my first love. Drums, church. Monday to Friday, you go to school, you get A stars, you do what you have to do. Saturday, find yourself in rehearsals. Get to church. Saturday, then Sunday, 2 free services. And that was my life for 20 years. So with music, it was 20 years, bro. Music, it was just it was the external version of me that I could relate to, And I'm looking at this, I remember this service, because my keyboardist was annoying me that day.
How was he annoying?
He was just off, he was just wrong song, wrong key, wrong chords, everything. And then, and it's just when I hit the drum kit, there was no stress. Every time I hit the drum kit, it's you can take out your aggression literally on the drums, and it was just peace of mind. He was a happy kid in this picture, 100%. Wow.
Keyboard, my first love.
Mo keys.
My first love. It's so crazy because when I started playing, I wasn't meant to play keys in any capacity. I think I got thrown into it because my older brother had left my uncle's church, and my sister was like, well, there's no one to play keys, you're jumping on. And I was 6. And my first song I played was Anointing Fall on Me.
Lord have mercy.
I would never, because the chords are mad simple. But yeah, had a Casio at home, and Holy Spirit was the one that really, he was the one, because I can't even tell you how I even pressed the keyboard to even know what anointed me even friggin' could sound like or what the chords were.
Mad.
So, yeah,
That's
man.
mad.
That was young Mo Keys, man. My guy.
What a guy.
My guy.
That's mad.
Yeah. Jesus.
Wow.
It's bright purple.
Very shiny.
It's bright purple.
Very
Jesus.
shiny, man.
The glasses thing has always been my thing. That's
the
so
dynamic,
crazy.
the dynamic duo. Look at them. This is wild. I remember this era, man. I think this is when we were known as like.
Well, yeah, this is when we were solidifying.
Like Mikey Mo. This
Yeah.
was like the boys in church, and I think even how I met you was weird because I met you at your uncle's church.
Yeah.
And
we had just moved to that place as well.
Really?
Yeah, that place that we met, we had just got there. So obviously, you know, when them small churches, you rent out old
venues.
churches, right? And then we got that place, and it was that place was just interesting because we got this big place, but we didn't have the audience to fill up the chairs.
Nothing. I'm not gonna lie, I noticed that when I got there.
Yeah, and the thing is, they were office chairs.
Yeah, because we came for like a convention or something to minister, and then I got there, then you guys had no kit. It was just like you and keys.
And Casio.
And the Casio.
Where you program the drum, bro.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, what, 5-6 years?
Yeah.
I came to Clearwater.
Yeah. It's
And
so
then-
crazy.
And I met you there, and I remember telling my friends, I was like, I know this guy from somewhere. I don't know where I know this guy from. And I came up to you, I was like, yo, like, do you remember? And then obviously you were just like, nah, man, I don't know.
I don't remember.
And I might just think my guys were laughing at me still. They were just like, see, like, you don't know, stop begging it.
Do you know what it is? When you're that age, there's so much happening that you don't remember like key things,
Yeah.
especially between like the age of 7, 8 up until when we went to Cleveland. There's just bare things happening, do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
You're in school or not. So when you said that, I probably had no clue, bruv.
People in the church when I came, they didn't know I was a drummer. Because remember, my godbrother's mum was like,
ballet's mum.
told
Yeah.
Josh at the time, I was just like, yo, he's a drummer. And then Josh was like, come and play for the youth. And that's when I started to play.
Okay.
And then we just started to just own the stage, I guess.
Man.
Every Sunday.
That's when the band started changing.
That's
as
when the
well,
band started
'cause that
to
band
change.
it was interesting. But yeah, Mike and I was the revolution.
Yeah, we came on the next energy still. I can't even front.
Church was everything. Church was where you harnessed your superpower, which was being a musician. You know, that was really where it was like trial and error. Like during the week, you might be at school, you might hear something, you know, whether that was on like the LimeWire Times or anything like that you heard, you would always try and then get to church and then try and like reenact or play that thing. Do you remember being on stage and always playing
Brandy.
secular songs on the stage?
Stage. Sorry, Pastor, but yeah.
That was what church was for me. Church was always that space where I get to like, you know, improve my skills or try and test things out. And then it was just a community, you know, a community away from school. It was vast difference from what school was, but it was a community that was, I guess we needed it. It was like an extended brotherhood and sisterhood with people that we weren't directly like related to.
Yeah, I would say, it was a community for me. It was like another family as well. You know, like you said, we were all brothers and sisters, and everyone will come. So how was your week? What was you doing in your sector or whatever you're doing? And I think for me, church as well, spiritually was like the place where I can just lay it all out. You know what I'm saying? And merging that with music, well, what a great combination. You know, I used to love the praise sessions. I used to love worship as well, and you could really feel like you can feel like yourself.
Yeah, praise and worship
was just, man, that was our thing. I love jamming at the end of the service and stuff, but yeah, church was all that, man, for real. Oh, whoa, my days.
So the friendship is growing.
Building,
Yeah,
Because we're taking
yeah.
double selfies.
Do you know what it is? I don't like the way you put it together like that, but that's what's
double
kinda
selfies,
happening.
that's funny.
Yeah, it became more like of a brotherhood, if I'm honest. Like,
We just were on the same thing.
we understood the same agenda. Like, we had the same agenda, we had the same goals, and it was just like, okay, anywhere I can help you, I will. You know, you don't have to do anything like to pay me back or anything, but it was just genuine.
Yeah.
You know, and at this time it was just like, okay, it's starting to understand he's like this and I'm like this, and there's a dynamic. But this picture is crazy. This no facial hair thing is
It's
getting to me
hard.
still.
It's hard to try and.
This is 20?
Me?
2021? Like we were either 20 or 21 around here?
Nah, was me?
Yeah. Yeah,
don't
I
even
can
know.
tell because of the jeans I'm wearing.
I don't even know I'm pointing like
How
that.
can you see the jeans?
I can see the jeans. Those are G-Star Raw, bro. G-Star
Yeah,
Raw.
you used to bang
What?
G-Star.
I was ambassador.
Remember that? Yeah, back in
Ambassador. They're
G-Star.
the only people that had my size that made it look
Yeah,
good
true.
at that time. So this is when we would, like, Mikey Mo. You
Yeah.
go somewhere, you see
see
the
both
other.
of us.
Like, you will see, like, or if you see one, where's the other? And it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah. And this time, this is like, I think we were making music together around this time. Like,
That's why I don't think it was 2021. I think it was,
No, as
we were
in-
20
oh.
or 21 years old. I
Oh.
feel like we were a bit younger.
Younger.
I think like 17, maybe 18.
that's crazy.
Just before we went to uni.
This is crazy.
Just before, literally, because
If this is ambassador
2021,
times,
we was already started going to
thingy, yeah.
This
That's
this
crazy.
is when everyone was still together. Yeah, 17, 18, between 17 to 19. This is where this era is for
crazy.
sure.
Well, we look like ringers then. If I thought we were 21, that's crazy.
So why did you guys decide to come together and make a group? Like, why didn't you just stay as individual producers?
I think at the time it was frustration.
Yeah.
I think we were frustrated individually, you know, trying to build as producers, trying to work with artists, trying to like, you know, get our individual sounds out. And we'd meet in church and be like, so how was your week? What did you do? What did you make today? And it was just like 2 heads are better than one, you know? And I think it was good to have someone that you can spar with.
Yeah.
Because I used to hear some of his beats like, how did you, what computer did you use to make this? You know, and I hope it was the same.
Yeah,
I hope it was mutual, you know. And I think, yeah, it was needed at the time. You know, I think the music industry in the UK for us was very difficult to kind of like break into.
Yeah.
It was very hard to just be, you know, in the right rooms and to collaborate with the right writers. So it was just like, okay, we're gonna start building our farm. We're gonna build it together. And I think that's when it just popped off. And then we just started to branch out. And it's like, it's easier to have those conversations when you're like, we are coming rather than I am coming. You know, and it was like the start of a force, you know, in my opinion.
Two heads are better than one, huh?
100%.
Hey,
Come and see Band of Life.
Hey,
Wow.
man.
This is,
The vision was clear though.
the vision of this came from church.
Yeah.
We went on a retreat to go minister in another church, and we were on stage. And you know, prior to that, we were always speaking about the scene,
Yeah.
music, and you know, obviously I tried to do my thing, you tried to do your thing, and we were like, we're tired. We're tired of the level of the music in the country. We're tired of the industry's politics, and we're like, let's make our own thing. You know, it was like, let's make a production team. We were trying different names, just trying different things, and we were just like, yeah, I know a writer, you know a writer.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
see what happens,
And then the original SOS Entertainment.
Yeah.
The original
Entertainment.
SOS Entertainment. That's what it's called. SOS Entertainment, timeless music.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And man, looking at it now, look at these guys. The suits. Whose idea was it to do this?
don't know.
This is mad.
Sons of Sonix. It's interesting because every time like we talk about how the name came about, I'm always taken back to like this one thing my mum used to always say, which was like, remember the son of who your father is, right? And basically the whole sentiment of that is just like, remember where you're from, basically. So whenever I would go to school, she'd be like, remember the son of who your father, remember where you're from, like as a reminder to not get gassed, like, or go to school and get in trouble because you know what's waiting for you at home. And somehow that was the saying that kind of helped spark this thing of like, okay, like just every time you're doing something, just remember where you're coming from. Whatever heights you get to, remember you are the son of this, sons of this. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I guess we kind of just attach the two, like we're the sons of Sonix. Like Sonix is a subdivision of music. If we're looking at music as the mother, then what are the all different subdivisions? And like the sonics and the frequencies of music is like a part of it, and we wanted to express or let people know that that was the part that made us who we are, like our sonics, our frequencies, how we make our basis sounds. And that's kind of how it birthed. And it wasn't originally Sons of Sonix, you know, it was like Sound on Sound. You know, remember, I don't know if you remember that magazine. There was a
SOS.
magazine called Sound on Sound, right? It was a magazine you'd pick up. It was always a music magazine, right? And we kind of jacked that name, like, you know, let's run with the sound. Obviously we couldn't because of copyright infringement.
Yeah.
But it started there. It was always about sound. It was always about how we made things, how we made it sound, what we did to make it sound a particular way, and then it evolved into Sons of Sonix. So, yeah, Sons of Sonix.
SOS, it's
I don't know
SOS boys.
Yeah, you know, SOS is the acronym for urgent. It's Denise needed now. So I don't think we'd be called anything. I couldn't imagine us being anything. I couldn't imagine us being anything
It's
else.
worked, so it's not going anywhere. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, looking at this picture, at this point, we're just enjoying it. We're just enjoying figuring it out. Like, because we didn't have at the time people to show us or tell us how to do this. So it was just like, okay, we need visuals. Let's do a photo shoot. Let's call for favors. Like, I remember buying that jacket for this photo shoot. And that became the staple look. Every motive, I'm gonna use this jacket.
The jacket, I hear it still.
But yeah, at this point, it was just fun. It was new. You know, we were creating music at the time that was just like young kid energy, even though we're not kids, but it was just new energy. And I remember coming to your uni with Fola, and we would just camp out for days.
Sharing a single bed.
It's crazy.
I'll never forget that.
Just like, just so hungry for music, and you didn't think about business, you didn't think about rollout.
I didn't mean anything.
I didn't mean anything. I didn't mean anything at this point. It was just like, is this song good? Can we play it again?
Yeah. Human beings in their purest form, like entering an industry. That's what that is. Like, it was just purity at its highest. Like, we're gonna make music and we're just gonna enjoy it. When I sit and think about the type of music we were making at this time, at this point, it was advanced. And when I say advanced, just advanced for somebody of our age, being able to like put things together the way we were doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't actually at that time have anyone directly telling us this is how to do it and this is how you do it. It was literally trial and error. But that's what made it fun. That's what made it enjoyable.
So who is Harmony Samuels?
Super producer, entrepreneur, multi-Grammy award-winning producer. Like, yeah, this guy really...
He's the blueprint, man.
The blueprint. He started the train, you know, he was really the guy that was working with some of the biggest, you know, Chris Brown, Ariana Grande. You know, he was in and out LA Reid's office, you know, on like just... It didn't make sense, but it made sense. You know, it didn't make sense because it was like, how? He was just in Thamesmead. Like, it felt like 2 years ago, and then now you're making some of the biggest records. You know, like,
I remember when we watched Champion, with Chip and Chris Brown, and seeing him in the video, like, that's your brother.
How did you get there?
Like, how did this come together?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, no, he's really been the inspiration. You know, one of the best sayings I've ever heard is, you know, in order to be great, you have to be under a great. Yeah. And he's definitely a great, you know. He set the bar, and not only did we have to get up to the bar, we had to jump over the bar. So, yeah, man.
He's the guy. Big boss.
Set it up. Set it up.
The big boss.
Yeah, really set it up. 2011, it had been like 4 years since I'd spoken to him, because my parents at the time basically banned me from speaking to him because he decided to pursue music. And so they felt like he was a bad influence on whatever idea of music that I wanted to do. He was the reason, and it was a bad idea. And yeah, we hadn't spoken. No, I hadn't seen him. We'd speak, but I hadn't seen him. So I didn't even realize that he had kind of transitioned to LA anyway. And in 2011, he hits me and says, yo, for summer, you should come to LA. And I'm like, I don't know this place that you're talking about, bro. The only LA that I know is Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's like, no, like LA, like Los Angeles. He's like, come. I'm like, all right. Jump on a plane. And firstly, I was not dressed for that type of weather, bruv. Like, and them times that I remember, my mum used to always make me like dress kind of smart going to the airport. because it was like she was just like, you know, you don't want them to stop you at the airport. So I just remember I wasn't dressed for that sort of weather, and then yeah, I got there and I was gobsmacked. I was just like, is this place real? Like real life, San Andreas, GTA. Like, is this place real? And yeah, it was a big exposure of something that I guess was in the fantasy, but it was a reality. It's just like, right, I thought this only existed in thing. So here is we start going to this church called the One Church. It's like a renowned church in LA, and yeah, I was just kind of just watching him on stage, and then as time was going on, he was just like, I want you to play, and I was just like, what? I'm playing there. Just nervous, innit? Like you know, this is like a church, everyone's sick keyboard player, drummers, everything. So I just didn't think I was on that level, but he was like, you'll play second boards. And yeah, it was interesting because this was the first time he had seen me as a teenager man, you know? When he left, or when I saw him last, I was a teenager. And at this point, I'm now in my 20s. So it was new for him to see me in this space, and it was new for me to see him in this space. So it was like learning each other again. You know what I mean? Just being older, basically.
I'm still in London at this point. I'm going ham in the studio in London, because I remember him calling me on Skype.
Yeah.
Like, yo, listen to this. And I'm like, yeah? Nah, what's going on in LA? Like, you guys are on a different energy, like, and I was inspired. So I was just, you know, just working and mastering the craft, because I knew I was gonna come to LA at one point, and I didn't wanna basically be behind on the train. I didn't wanna come there and be like, oh, this is what I've been doing, and you're like, that's cute, that's nice, you know? So I kinda like honed in like on the mixing and studying songs, but yeah. Everything he was telling me, he was just like, LA is different.
Yeah, it's different.
Like, LA is different. And I was like, I remember when I called you one time, I was just like, no, I heard that, but we're gonna do our thing.
Michael?
We're gonna do SOS, we're gonna,
Mikey?
you know. He was like, I heard that, but my brother.
He was like, bro.
I remember the first session when I met Harmony in LA, and Harmony was like, oh, yeah, play me what you guys have been working on. Bro, reading off 20 songs, like 20, 18 tunes, and I'm looking at him like, yeah, this is hard, yeah? He's like, it's cool. This guy played four. This guy played 4 songs, and I was like, I'm gonna delete this folder. We'll start again. And it was encouraging, because it was just like, this is the bar. This is the standard. And yeah, even looking at this picture now of us at the beach.
Yeah, it became a thing, like us three.
Yeah.
The Three Musketeers, like it was us three.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. We were living life in this LA, man.
We were enjoying, bro.
Like, again, it was just energy. Like, we were known as the London boys. So that was like, we're out in LA, the accent, you know, we're here, we're enjoying, we're experiencing new life, the cars, everything. And we never strayed away from why we were there. You know, that's one thing I'll definitely say, having each other was very, very important, because it was like, this is all great, but remember, we have to get the songs. Yeah. Remember, we got to build the name, we got to improve the Sonix. And when you have a mentor like Harmony, you can't get gassed. You can't get carried away. Yeah. I remember when he won the Grammy for Chris Brown's album, and we ran into the studio excited. Oh my days, hate you gone. Da, da, da. It was just like, relax, calm down. This is cool, we'll celebrate it, but what's next? And we were confused, because, you know, normally you get a Grammy, it's like, you're here, you're established. He was just like, that's just one play in this whole vision. So it was very, very inspirational, to be like, okay, you've hit all of this level of success and you're still working hard. We cannot even lose that. Yeah. You know, and looking at this picture, sitting on the car, what was that, the Jag? The
brand
Jag?
new F-Type.
F-Type. You know, we were blessed, 100% blessed, you know, but yeah, this time was amazing, man. I can't even front. And even meeting Michelle Williams, like. Yeah,
that was.
It's just like, you're Destiny's Child, like.
Yeah, that was.
It's just like,
how? You know? It was it was surreal to just be like you are a Destiny Child. Literally, and we're going to dinner with you, we're having conversation, we're in the studio with you. It felt too close. Like, how are we this close to this superstar? You know? And I guess that was really the eye opener, that we're the guys, man. Like, we're not crap at what we do, because whatever we're good at has brought us to this point.
At what point did it switch and it went from I can't believe we're here to we're here for a reason?
I think for me, it takes me back to that walk that we had in uni when we spoke about this vision and spoke about like what we wanted to do, and to be in LA and to pull up to, remember that producer playoff that we went to?
At Warner, right?
At Warner, yeah. And there was a lot of producers, heavy hitters. There was like D-Mile, TB Hits. There was a few like Grammy winning producers, the big boys. And then it's like, oh, Sons of Sonix. And we're like, oh, okay.
We're here?
We're here.
Yeah.
And to play our music and to play us the stuff that we were working on, and for them to be like, yo, you guys got that world sound. Like, where you guys from? And we're like, we're from London. That for me is when it was like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like to have your music alongside those peers and for it to be respected by labels and stuff, for me, I was just like, we're meant to be here. You know? What about you?
I think we always knew that we was meant to be here. I think we had an innate nature that London wasn't going to be the only place.
100%.
Just based on the frustration from becoming SOS. Do you get what I mean? But I think it was what started making it more real was just the type of people that we started associating ourselves with, the type of people that we were in close contact to. Do you get what I'm trying to say? The type of places we ended up, people's houses we would be in, and we'd be like, how did we get here? You know, like being in the studio with Chris Brown, we're like, we're looking at each other like,
this is really happening.
I think for me, that's when it was like, oh, okay, man's not crap. Like, there's no way, you know what I mean? And I think subconsciously, I was just like, there's no one in London at this point who's coming to this place and is doing what we're doing or is around these people in close proximity. Not on we just happened to be at, no. We were either invited or Harmony took us there. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I think that was when it was like, oh, yeah, we're meant to be here. Like, our music has got us this far, enough to be around the heavy hitters, like the people that are running the game. So, yeah.
Feeling on your booty.
What session is this? This is Usher. When we were doing the Usher camp.
Was. Why am I eating food?
Oh, you can't put us in the room without a smash coming out, bro. Chris Stokes.
You're annoying. You're actually annoying.
It's wild. It just felt like right. It just felt like this is where we're supposed to be. Like it felt like there wasn't any danger or anything, because obviously we've got Big Bro there, but in the studio, like, you know, there was no idea that was wrong. You know, you're expressing how you creatively should take an idea, and your brothers are trying to improve the idea. And it's not done in a bad way. It's never suppressed or anything. You know, and it was fun. Like, it was really, really fun. Like, we've had many moments with ourselves and with Harmony where it was just like, you look back, like, it's just like, wow, these little boys from Southeast London are in LA. You know, you're in the studio with certain names. I remember this particular session, and then Usher walks in, and you're just like, there was a split second. I'm like, I used to watch you on Box TV in London.
These dance moves
and doing your dance moves, you know.
Now you're right in front
of us. Now you're right in front of me asking us for a record, like, you know. But yeah, this was an amazing part.
Good times.
Good times.
This is basically like just where the team was being built, you know, like-minded people. You know, whenever we, you know, read about the greats before us, or you know, the ones that were there before we came, you know, they always specified the idea of team.
100%.
And building with a community of people. And so at this point, you know, it was like the team was set. Everybody knew what they were doing. And we just had one goal. We just had one vision. And that was just to get hot and be the best in every capacity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? And it's mad because we hadn't really moved to LA yet.
Yeah.
So everything that we were seeing here, we were trying to replicate in London in some capacity. Like we was trying to create or build like our team in London because, you know, I guess at that point we weren't like 100% sure that we were moving to LA. It was just like, okay, we're going to LA, you know, a couple months there, do the work, come back, you know, do work here and then go back, do you get what I mean? So, but yeah, this is where the team was really starting to find this face.
Yeah, and I think for me, I saw the infrastructure,
Yeah.
the importance of infrastructure, the importance of, okay, if I do my thing right, you can do your thing right, and we can conquer our goals together.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande, this album changed our life.
Yeah,
This album definitely changed our life.
started the train.
Started it.
Yeah.
Early days, like we went to LA and it was just like, we're gonna throw you into the deep end.
Yeah, this was a deep end.
This was a very, very deep pool, you know.
And she wasn't even known at that time as well.
No.
She had just come off the show Victorious on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't much noise about her. I mean, there was, but it wasn't anything like, you know, that anyone was really shying about. The only comparison was, oh, she might be the next Mariah Carey, you know. And yeah, she, you know, she came to the studio and she was, you know, H played her some records and she was just like, yeah, I love it. And it's mad when you look at pictures like this, because when you look at her now and you look at her then, it's just like raw, like the elevation is really, really crazy. But yeah, this is what really started it, you know. And from this we thought, oh yeah, we're here, cool, you know, Ariana Grande, raw. You know what I mean? #1 for 8 countries, this is crazy. And then, yeah, we came to London after doing this, or after it came out, should I say, and we were heavily surprised by the reception that we got.
Yeah.
I guess we had this, you know, this thought that once you had like a big record or once you had like something going off,
The doors were open.
the doors would fly open, and we were starkly. Yeah, we were
surprised.
We were shocked. We were shocked. You know, we came back to London and we started, you know, to go to a few meetings.
Everybody had to go to High Street Kensington.
Yeah, that was the place.
That was the place.
Was it Fulham Broadway or High Street Kensington? It was Fulham
High Street. The Fulham was publishing, and
Okay,
High
okay,
Street
okay.
was like
Was
the
the
records
place,
for
right.
like placements and stuff.
So yeah, we went to this particular meeting and we went to sit with an A&R, and so he's like, you know, so what you guys doing? Like, you know, what's happening? Well, and you know when you feel like you've got something in your back pocket and you're like, yeah, ready to pull it out. It's like, yeah, so. Yeah, you know, we're #1, 30 countries, Ariana Grande, and you know, and you're just like, yeah, say something, and it's just like, oh, okay,
Who's that?
cool, never heard of her, huh? What do you mean you've never heard of her? Like,
It's popping off right now, bro.
#1 in 30 countries, like, huh? Yeah, just never heard of her, and it was such a showstopper, like a stop. Like wherever gassed moment that you had in your head, whatever you thought was, relax. Like it don't mean nothing here, and that's what began our
Quest.
vengeance.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, cool.
I was very,
Yeah?
very, very angry.
Okay, cool. Because like I said, you think in your brain that you get that one, and then everyone's gonna be like, yeah, we need this, and it just wasn't that. And we felt like we were at the beginning of our careers again. You know, searching, looking. The only difference is we had a #1 album in our pocket.
It was a blow, you know. You start to question yourself.
Yeah.
Like you said, you have a #1 album with the newest, biggest pop star in the world, and you know you're being told, okay, what does that mean? And I think for us, like we like you said, it started the quest, and we'll go around, try to work with different people. I remember one meeting, we went to a publishing meeting in Fulham Broadway, just to again push the conversation. And no word of a lie, you know, the A&R told us we would never be successful making R&B music. So you come at the meeting thinking like, wait, huh? How does this all add up with the success? That doesn't add up. And, you know, you go into the studio, sometimes you don't want to enter the studio. Sometimes you're like, if we do this, we're going to be told no again. You know, and I remember one conversation that we had with Harmony, and it was just like, do not listen to anybody. Do not listen to anyone telling you how to make music. You know, we had A&Rs telling us, you need to produce like this, and you need to do this, and your Sonix needs to sound like this, which it wasn't constructive, it was kind of destructive, you know, at the time. And I think we took that frustration, we took the advice from Harmony and locked in. Locked in to refine our sound, locked in to just define who we are, so it will get to a level that you cannot say this is good. You know, that's what I think we learned, just you can just channel that emotion, and that just turned into 17 hours in the studio. We'll get to the studio 1 p.m, we'll work to 4, 5 a.m, to go back, shower, come back again. Did that for 2 to 5 years. To just find this answer, to define this sound. And I think once we had learned the industry of the UK and learned who is who, we were like, okay, let's be strategic. And that's when it leads to get into a session with Wretch.
So can you talk to us about the level of work ethic needed?
It's a do or die situation, if I'm honest. You know, it's how badly do you want it? And I think for us, like, it was 100% music. We weren't active, we weren't present for, you know, things with our families and friends. Like, that's the sacrifice that we had at the time, because we had this point to prove to ourselves that we are who we say we are. And especially when you had the success story and you've gone to America, you're in the room with Chris Brown and Justin Bieber and all these people at this time, and you're seeing them, you're like, okay, we're here. And you come back and then someone says, who are you?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? What have you done in the UK? And it was as if like you had to be successful in the UK to be successful. It was just like, bro, do you know how big the world is? You understand what I'm saying? So we just locked in, and it was like every day we breathe and sleep this thing. There was times where we didn't even know what day it was during the week. You know, it was just a routine. It was just like, okay, pick me up, come back, go studio, go again, come back. What day is it? Oh, it's Tuesday. Mad, I thought it was Friday. Crazy. You know, and I think people don't understand, to get to this level, you have to put that work in. You cannot cheat
10,000 hours.
You cannot cheat it. We've done our 10,000 hours with some change.
And with some change.
You know? And I wouldn't change it, looking back now. It was worth the investment. At the time, you're emotional, you're angry, you're frustrated. But looking back now, you need that in your development, in your character development. It makes you be on your game. It makes you invest in the music like it's going to be great. And our bar is never below that, you know.
That's facts.
What were the sacrifices?
Family.
Family, man.
That being at the top of everything, like, you know, how do you explain that? You know, how do you, you know, tell them that you're in the studio all the time, or
it was like, you're in the studio again?
And you gotta understand, you know, we come from, you know, a culture where we attach success to money immediately. So you're in the studio, but what does that look like? Still in my house. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, what does that, I don't know what that means. So, you know, that sacrifice of, you know, not being able to see your family and, you know, see your nieces and nephew kind of start growing, and, you know, do the normal things of like going out with friends, or, you know, I remember just hearing my friends be like, oh, this, you know, whenever you did like reunions and you see the pictures and you're just never there, because you're at the studio or you're doing something. That was what it was for me. It's like I never got to do reunions like that because I was in the studio, you know. Those were the sacrifices. FOMO.
Big FOMO. What a day.
What a day.
What a day. I'm literally holding it back like this is Wretch 3-2 in this picture.
Yeah, I'm looking at this is spray.
This is the RTM.
RTM, bro. RTM, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, like,
wow.
That was
this whole setup was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yo.
Damn.
You can't write none of this.
No.
Like you have to actually be up. You have to be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How this session happened? How we started working at this studio was. Again, it's just a lot of it. I don't like using the word by chance, but it felt like it was by chance.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was God, but it felt like it was by chance. At the time, our previous manager at the time, he was friends with Spray, and he was looking for a record, and that record he happened to want Chip and Wretch on the same song with him. And I guess Mike and I had a conversation, and it was like, this is the play, or with our manager, should I say? This was the play. Like, you want to get Wretch? This is what you have to do. Go work with Spray, and then from that, we can kind of build a relationship. And everyone knows that, or knew at the time that Spray had a rep. So I was like, damn, we're going into the studio with Mr. RTM. Okay, this is gonna be good. And we got in there, and
we just had to be us.
We just had to be us, unapologetically. Like,
yeah.
And the thing is, we already knew Chip from before, obviously, because Harmony had done stuff with Chip, and Chip had been working with Mike and I and stuff at my mum's house. So we already knew him, but it was Wretch that we was after. We were a fan of Wretch, one of the best, if not the best lyricists from the country. So it was like, this has to work, and that was the beginning of a 10-year run. I love this photo so much.
Wow, what a picture!
I love this guy.
I will never forget that studio. This studio was the studio that was above our church that we used to play in. Mm-hmm. So everybody used to come to the studio. We had a lot of artists pull up, and I remember a particular day our pastor seeing Wretch and his entourage just go past the church and go upstairs. But there was a lot of magical moments in the studio.
Yeah.
And I think with Wretch, one thing that, we value with him and our relationship is he just gave us a chance. We've just come back from hearing a lot of no's. And then the best rapper in the country is like, you guys are good. Let's do something, let's try. And it was a session after a session after a session. Then it became like, yo, do you wanna pull up to my house? You know what I'm saying? Cook your food. What's this thing, salmon? Salmon and sweet corn and mashed potato.
Young
like,
shrimp.
bro,
Yeah,
okay,
young shrimp.
Little young shrimp thing. And that crossed over into the music, because now when he comes to the studio, we'll have ideas like, yo, we've got this idea, what do you think? Yo, this is crazy, bam. And he's very fast. Very, very fast.
He doesn't write anything down.
Doesn't write anything down. Hears the music and is like, I already know how this makes me feel. And there was a trust that was building, Wow, this picture is crazy. The record that changed our life.
The moment.
So,
The moment.
6 words. I'm not gonna lie, even to this very day, that session is a blur.
I remember it
It's a
vividly.
blur, because it was so fast.
Yeah. They had the song written
They had the song written and finished before we finished
before
the
we
music.
even finished making the beat.
Like I said, we already had this relationship, so we kind of knew what he likes, his palette.
Yeah.
So we're making the song, and him and Varun Wade, obviously we're working on the record, and he's walking around doing the thing that he does where he's like nodding his head, he's like, trying to figure out, and then he looks at me and he's like, this one's gone. I'm like, bro, there's no drums here, we haven't finished. He's like, trust me, this one's gone. And then I'm looking at Varun, and he's like, the concept he's got is crazy.
And he wasn't meant to even sing yet.
Yeah.
So Wretch had this whole plan that he was gonna sing 2 albums after. He already thought in his head that he wanted to be a singer in some capacity.
What did he say, glide on key.
Yeah. And then I guess it came at the right time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's wild. It's very, very wild.
Yeah.
You said your lives changed once 6 words came out. Talk to us about that.
When you get that one that opens the door, this was the one. This took our name into rooms like, who made this song? This was our first UK top 10. We were the youngest producers that year to have a top 10. And it was kind of like, we'd never heard a sound like this, because it was was it dubstep, drum and bass? That was the
Yeah,
sound
it was
at
like,
the time.
It was like a cross between R&B.
But we basically
and
crossed
dubstep.
it, with R&B in our church background, and it was like, oh, we are who we say we are. UK. You didn't want to hear before with America. We were here now with this one. Yeah. And even there's a story with this song, like, which it just shows, like, when you have a moment that you think it's a high, there's always one negative that wants to try and...
You get tripped up.
You get tripped up half the way. So what happened was when the record came out, we had mixed the record with a producer at the time called Wilkinson. And even thinking about it now just makes me...
PTSD, bro.
Bro, very angry. But long story short, you know, industry, friends are friends with managers and whatever. You turn on to Radio 1 the day the song's about to be premiered, and we're locked in. We've sent our credits, Sons of Sonix, no spelling mistakes, everything. And we're thinking they're going to say our name on radio. New record produced by Wilkinson. I said...
It was mad.
I said, what? This moment that we've, grinded, we've done the tours, we've run around, was taken away. And you're like, raw, even still, we're here.
It was personal.
It was personal.
It was personal.
And we were just like, that was what we were just like, again, the industry, this thing where you don't allow people to have their moment. Yeah. We worked hard for this. Yeah. We built the relationship, and I think for us, it was like, it was a blow, but again, you take that energy and you channel it. And we made sure Wretch stayed in this camp.
I think what hurt about that, for me, was the powers that be that didn't come to our aid.
Yeah.
There are people in positions that you think,
should have said something.
All in the name of pushing the black culture. We didn't have that support, and it was almost like a get on with it. It happens, and we were like, yeah. Cool. And again, this was just the build-up of the vendetta, the build-up of, we didn't put our foot on your necks hard enough. No problem. Soon come.
You see us again.
See us again. On many occasions.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you mean by, was it a mistake? How did the person just take credit for your song?
There are unwritten rules in this industry, right? And I think personally looking back, I understand it, because you have to understand, Wretch is coming back with his new single. So you need anything to co-sign that. And at the time, Wilkinson he had a very, very, very big record out at the time. So it's like you are attaching Wilkinson's heat to Wretch's heat to help the single. And we're the new kids on the block. So it was kind of like, yeah, you made it, but we can't say produced by to kind of help this record, which I understand now, but at the time, I didn't understand, bro.
It didn't make sense to me.
It didn't make sense to me. Yeah. We put in the time, we put in the hours, and, we're young boys from Southeast London, so we kind of, did our thing with the social media them, and, it was a bit, we were angry, bro, but it was a lesson. It was a lesson, and it was just like, channel your emotions, pull it in what's important. And that's what we did. Like he said, we decided we're going to put foot on people's necks. And it just made us go, okay, we've got this opportunity with Wretch. Let's see how far this goes. I remember the story of when we were in LA and we thought he had finished the album.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, that story is crazy. So prior to going to LA in 2014, he brought his merchandise, the renowned hats, right? And usually when the artist brings their merchandise or anything like that, it means, thank you very much.
We appreciate it.
See you later. And he brought his renowned hats, and we're like, oh, okay. So Mike and I were just like, okay, maybe, we've got 1 or 2 songs on his album. That was good for us. We were good with that. And then we go to LA. And then when we're in LA, I'm still seeing him in sessions. I'm like, nah, we weren't whack. There's no way we were that crap. So I've hit man, I'm like, yo, Free, you still working? Or he's like, well, I'm not working with certain people, but I mess with you guys, so it would be good to go back in when you come back. And I'm like, all right, cool, say no more. And then we came back, and then that's actually when 6 Words was made. Mm-hmm. So originally, prior to 6 Words, we had done 4 songs, and we thought, one's enough. And then came back and we did 6 Words, and the relationship kind of started building from there.
No.
I'll never
Oh
forget
my
that.
days. That energy in the room
King's
was
Cross.
the energy that night was electric. It was really intense.
You know, man. You know, man. Them know it's one
You
of
know
those
you've
ones.
got one.
It's one of those ones. Yeah. Nah. We were traveling to far places, bro.
Wow.
We were, and the thing is, everywhere that we went, he was going with us.
Yeah.
Because we were in between studios. Like literally, we were at our church studio.
South.
Then we went. Then where did we go after? We went to East.
Yeah.
And then we got a studio in West.
Yeah.
Acton.
In Acton. Like we've been around.
And Wretch was just following. Everywhere we're going, Wretch was going. Wretch was following. When we went to LA, Wretch came to LA.
Like we've done an album or a project anywhere we've been with Wretch. And I think for me, the Grown Over Life album was very special.
Yeah.
Like we did that in, I think this was our first studio, East London, outside of Church.
Yes,
Right?
this was our first one.
Yeah, this was our first studio, and this is when, okay, we're responsible now. We have to pay that studio rent and make sure the sessions make sense. We cannot just be grinding for those reasons. It's got to be like very intentional. And he came and really gave us an opportunity to really show who we are.
This was actually Phil Collins's trailer.
Yeah, it used to belong to the Genesis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he sold it to someone, and it was parked there. And even when we went to go and view the space, they weren't originally going to give it to us.
Nope.
Because we needed to move things around, and they were like, no. But they allowed us, and that was our home for a while.
Yeah.
And we made some very, very special records with Wretch there. The Grown Over Life album, that's the album that had 6 words on it.
Yeah.
That was the real beginning of like our long-lasting relationship with Wretch. I feel like that was a tester for both him and us. You know, for us, like, could we really do a whole album? And for him, it's like, these are new producers. Like, should I really trust what they're bringing to the table? That album was really.
That we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have this dynamic.
Yeah, and you can really hear the church influences
100%.
in that album. Like we were still transitioning from like, you know, taking, you know, the aspects of being, you know, gospel church into our music, into just like at least separating the two and knowing how to just kind of just make music without those gospel influences in every song that you're doing. Does that make sense?
We were we're kind of like too musical.
At
that time.
Knowing how to strip it back and stuff.
make
But
it
he
easy.
allowed us to be ourselves on that first album.
Yeah. And then I think after this,
Free too.
before that was birthed Young Fire of Flame.
Oh yeah, we did the
Because
mixtape.
I feel like
Yeah.
this time, this is when he was mentoring Avelino. So in between like working on this album, telling Avelino to come to the studio, we'll create, and then he was like, oh, this is his own body of work. And then we did Young Fire of Flame, we had a few records
So when
on
you're
there.
saying you did it, are you saying you had a few records?
Yeah,
on
we
there?
had a few records on Young Fire of Flame. So we did the 15th, Gift to You with Malogo.
Yep.
And there was one more.
We were basically just even if we weren't doing the whole project, he was always ending up, guys, these are the songs I got from everywhere else, fix it.
Yeah.
That was always the sentiment. It's just like, all right, I've gone here. I'm going here to end and finish everything, basically. And that's how we were able to get across 3 albums and 2 mixtapes.
Yeah. So after Young Fire of Flame
Was Free too.
was Free 2.
Yeah.
Now Free 2 for me is my favorite.
That's his best one.
That's my favorite
Out of
Wretch
the 3,
album.
that's the
Out
best
of the
one.
3, that's my favorite because that's when it was like, okay, we know what we do collectively. What can we do now? Like what ideas can we explore musicality wise? And like you said, when we were doing the first album, he actually wanted to sing 1 or 2 albums after. So he was like, this album, I'm gonna sing.
I'm singing.
I'm gonna sing with vocalists, I'm gonna get songwriters, and we actually had 2 major camps for this album where we had a studio in King's Cross, Play Deep, and there was like 4 rooms and everybody that was in the UK was coming.
Yeah.
We had P2J,
Yeah.
EY,
KZ.
Malik Berry, KZ,
Yeah.
and it was a creative hub of just like elite creatives just to make the best music. and he really like trusted us to put this body of work. And there was even times when he was singing, like even when he was singing on Tell Me, it's like you can tell he's like, yeah, I'm that guy. I was like, you are that guy.
You are that guy. Yeah.
You are that guy.
Been
and
that guy.
Been that guy. And you know, for us to then take all these records that we made in this short space of time, go away to a farm for like 10 days.
What was it, Brackley?
Brackley, yeah. And live. It was used to be owned by Jamiroquai.
That's it, yeah.
Live there with Wretch, spend time with him, you know, speak about personal things to refine the songs. You then hear it in the album. You hear the attention to detail, you hear the care. And the final album, I think, was like his, I don't know, I think he was going through a lot at the time, hence the name Upon Reflection. It was just like, come to LA, because at this time, we were in LA. We had moved to LA. Like, we based in LA now, doing what we're doing, and we were like, bro, can't lie, you need to come out to LA.
Can't do nothing for you there.
Can't do nothing for you in the UK right now. He was like, LA, dog, bro, hop on that 11-hour flight, come. And he came, and we made Upon Reflection, and I think, yeah, it's one of those relationships that has definitely been a foundation in our success because, like I said earlier, he gave us an opportunity to show who we are.
Yeah.
I don't know how that motif came to me. I don't know.
Hey. And it's such a sentimental song just because what he was going through to even like get that emotion out was a tough day. Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, what he was going through that day to get that song out was a lot, and that's the first time I'd seen him that emotional
and vulnerable.
You know, like Wretch is an amazing person, but we all know he's a serious man too. So to see someone of that level emotional like that and still record this song,
because that day he had lost his uncle.
Yeah.
And I remember we were supposed to have a session booked that day, and he called us and he told us. So we were like, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to still come to the studio? And he was just like, bro, I have to come to the studio. I don't know what to do with my life right now, you know. So we're like, cool. We went and he was telling us what was happening. And as he was just talking, like, obviously playing around on the keys, and he was just like, just keep playing, okay? And mid-recording his verse, he just broke down in tears. And that was the first time for us, with all the work we've done prior, we've seen him
that vulnerable.
You know, we're seeing him and it's just like, yo. So, you know, we prayed and we comforted him during the time, and we didn't know what to do now. Like, how do you continue with this song? You know, finish the session, and being the great artist that he is, he came back another day and finished the song. And you can't tell when you listen to the record. You literally listen to it over and over and then just continued. And I think with Wretch, his process is one of a few. You know, I think he comes from a different class of artists. Like, the guy doesn't write nothing. No pen, no phone, just walks around, hears the music, and it's like, it will just take some time for him to figure out what he wants to say and what, you know, where he wants to explore. There's times when we've made the beat and it's on loop and I'm trying to study him. I'm just like, okay, where are you going? I want to know, I want to learn today how you figured this thing out. And he'll be like, I'm ready. I'm like, bro, it just took you like 20 minutes.
Yeah. When did you write all of this?
Then he'll give you a verse that's like, huh? Where in your head did you store this verse? And he's just the best. We've worked with a lot of rappers.
He's the best.
But when it comes to rapping, lyrically, execution, everything.
Bar for bar, he could go with some Americans still.
We've played him to some guys in LA and they cannot believe he's from the UK.
He from London?
He's from London? You know, and that's a testimony to, you know, his ability, man. Wow.
whole time. Get out.
Yeah.
Them phones started ringing, bro.
Like, you know, a few people were knocking on our doors. I was like, we came to your door.
Yeah, do you remember us?
You know, it happens. That's just the industry, and you can't be personal. You have to. It's business at the end of the day. And I think, yeah, all the artists that we were saying that we wanted to work with, we ended up being in the room with them. I remember we went to Wireless one year, and we went in the front, and Tiny Temper was performing, and we were standing there. We were like, we're gonna work with you. I don't know how, but you're gonna be in our studio. And then what happened? Yeah, it was in our studio, and we were making music. And what started to happen was like the conversation was going around in the industry that you need to get in with SOS. You know, we'll work with, you know, Alexandra Burke, Tiny Temper, and Emily Sandé, and you know, it was just names that we were like, wait, how is this happening? Yeah, it's happening. Wow.
Mel C. Legendary.
That's a Spice Girl, man. You can't beat that, man. You can't beat that. I remember this session as well. Like,
we was only meant to do one
song.
It was only meant to do one song, and they loved that song so much. They were like, "Do you wanna do some others?
You wanna work on some other songs?
And do you also want to touch up the other people's records on that project?
You might as well just executive produce the whole thing.
Yeah, and that album brought her. That was her first top 20 in 8 years.
Yeah. And even with her, it's like we built a relationship.
Yeah,
with her.
that's exactly what I was about to say.
A personal relationship. I remember my 25th birthday. She was actually supposed to. I found out later she was supposed to come and sing Happy Birthday. I was like, what? You even thought about that based on just the relationship, you know? And I think that just shows who we are. Like the music is great, but the experience that we create in the studio with the artists, I think, is very important, because if you have a great experience, you're only gonna make great music, you know? And yeah, she gave us the opportunity, even put out a single with her, Numb, which was crazy. Yeah. But yeah, shout out to Varen and Matt, man. Look at them. Imposter.
Mic number 2.
This is the day. We have to talk about this particular day.
This was a, he was just starting out.
Yeah.
He was literally just starting out. I think, was Shut Up out already?
Nah, this was Magande's. I think this was his first EP. I don't think Shut Up had dropped yet.
Hadn't dropped yet. Yeah, so so we were working with a lady called Tanika at the time, who we got introduced to from Wretch. Yeah. Right? Wretch was like, you know, work with her, please, I need you guys' touch. And it was like, all right, cool. We started working with her, and then we made a song, and she was like, you know, I want to get Stormzy on it. And we were just like, who's that? The hell's that? And then she DM'd him, and man comes to the studio. It literally happened. She DM'd him, and he came to the studio, and it was just like, okay. And then I guess once we started doing some like research, it was like, oh, this kid is meant to be the next one, kind of thing. And this was him at his purest form, should I say? And I say purest form because nothing had really happened yet. Like, this was probably one of his first ever sessions. Like, when Stormzy used to record, he never used to record with the producer.
They were like sending beats.
They were sending beats. So these were like his first times getting into the studio with a producer or, you know, a songwriter and actually making songs like the same day. Yeah, and I remember they saw each other. They looked at each other, and he was like...
What's so crazy about this picture is I was late to this session, so they already started and everything, and I walked in, and then he looks at me and he goes, bro, are you Mikey Music? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, someone sent me your picture that we look alike. And I'm looking at him like, yeah, I can see the resemblance. And obviously we're both Big Mike.
You're the Spider-Man meme.
The Spider-Man meme, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, again, it just became natural, it just grew. You know, I think once you always get one record with an artist that they like and they love the record, it's like, can we do it again? Let's try again. And try again is a conversation of trust at that point. So I think what happened at this point for him, he was finding himself getting the success of, like you said, Shut Up, and you know, there was another one they had, Where Do You Know Me From? So this is all happening for him, and at the time, he was getting firsthand into Wretch's album. So he would come to the studio, and we're playing him what we're doing with Wretch and Growing Up Alive.
And he would just be sitting like...
And he's sitting there like, wait, what?
Yeah.
He's like, Wretch is doing this. And we're like, yeah, we can do it with you as well. And it just grew, the relationship grew. And I remember around this time, like he was very adamant to make Birthday Girl. It was very, very intentional to make that record. He was like, bro, do you know what song every single girl that will play a song about their birthday? And I'm looking at him at 4 o'clock in the morning like, okay, can we make the song then? You know, and you know, Stormzy was known at the time for coming to the studio late. So he would come and just so much energy, bro.
Yeah.
So much energy. You could tell he was hungry at that point, and he still is. Still hungry, as you can see, but it just grew. The relationship grew, and when we got to the point where it was like he wanted to make his first album, we were like, let's go.
Let's go.
You know, came out to LA for 10 days, worked on records out there. We flew back to London, you know, and was just cooking, sending him ideas, and those ideas ended up being Velvet and 21 Gun Salute.
21 Gun Salute was actually Wretch's record.
Yeah.
That wasn't Stormzy's, but Wretch was like, this is Stormzy's record. And Stormzy was, I heard it was like, that's my record.
Wretch even went to an event
Yeah.
and told Stormzy and was like, oh, there's something
There's
for you
one
with the
waiting
guys.
for you. Yeah.
I left you something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, come and see boys.
Come and see more money, more problems.
Great day, man.
Great day. Great day. This is, yeah, go.
No,
You're taking the guy.
Me. Yeah, no, it was great because everybody else was getting signed around us. And at the time, when you getting signed was the thing. Like when you're signed, like, you've made it. Like, because you know we attach being signed with like the label must have given you a match. Like that was really what that moment was for us. It's like, okay, we've joined the list of people who are now signed to a publishing house. Yeah, man. I was just like, where's my money, bro?
No, but he's not even right. Like, he
Where's
literally
my,
like, yeah,
where's,
great,
that's
shake
great.
your
I'll
hand.
shake all your hands.
Where's my bread,
Where's
bro?
my money,
Because
bro?
you don't know where we've come
Yeah,
from.
bruv, for
Yeah.
real. Yeah, it was good,
Yeah.
man. Signing my life away.
Yeah, it was a moment for us. It was as if like the work begins now. Like we've gotten to this point. Now we have to work. Now it's like, okay, you're in the Champions League now. You know, you have camps to go to. You have, you know, quotas to make. You know, you got to submit a certain amount of songs, and it was just like, oh, okay, so we are who we say we are. You know, but that was a good day. Very, very good day.
Do you remember the first thing you bought?
Hey.
What was the first? Oh, yeah!
What? The first thing we bought, we came back to London
Yeah.
up and we said we are going shopping.
Yeah.
We went shopping. I remember
Got
we got our cars,
BMWs.
BMW.
He got a brand new
I
one
got
off the
brand new.
off the
I remember going to
showroom.
the showroom. I was like, "That's the car." And the craziest thing with that is, I had seen that car the night before, not knowing that that car was at the showroom we were going to. Because I was just looking at cars, and I was like, "I've seen this car before." And I was like, "I'm getting the car."
Yo,
And it was just
new.
like, you know, the hard work paid off.
Yeah, that car was nice.
You know, the hard work really, really paid off. Like now we could look after our parents a bit more, you know, because before it was like, there's no money, you're coming home late, what are you doing with your life, all of these things. And it was just like, look, like we were working towards this moment to get to this point. And, you know, I remember we'd go shopping in Stratford and spend like, you know, stupid amount on oud and perfumes and like go to Vans and just buy. It's young, you've never seen this amount of money before. You know, you're getting publishing royalties coming, PRS and all of these things, and you're like, wow, this is from chords that I've made in 40, it's from a song we've made in 45 minutes. Oh, bro, okay. You know, so it was a great feeling, but then, like I said, the work begins because there's a lot of things they don't teach you. You know, that you gotta learn now how the music business runs, you know, your money management and all of those other things. But humbling moment, man. Looking back, I'm just like, wow. Well done, Moses. well done, Mike. Well done, man. For real. The back and forth wasn't working anymore.
Yeah, it had to happen. Like,
Yeah.
we couldn't even escape it anymore. You know, we after we signed, we really tried to stay in London because we didn't want to lose our attachments to London, what we had done. I think we were afraid to kind of go back to that same position we were in 2013 when it was just like, so you who, what? I don't think we wanted to go back there. So we wanted to hold on to everything that we had done. We had created a network of people that we had worked with and had known at this point, so we didn't want to let that go amongst family and other things. But our A&R was just like, we can't do anything for you while you're in London. You know, LA is very fast paced, and most things happen on a whim. Nothing is ever planned. Everything is like 10 o'clock at night, we're going to see Mary J right now.
Is that bro?
Huh?
Like, you're in your bed, like, ready to get ready, we're going. You'd miss the opportunity if you was in London. And so that was definitely one of the catalysts that was like, that pushed us to be like, okay, another sacrifice is gonna have to come from this. Like, leave everything behind and go do this LA thing for real. And it was just the beginning of great things, man.
I remember when we finally moved, you know, and you were saying our A&R, Tough, Uncle Tough, he called us and was like, where you guys now? Oh, we're in the studio. It was like, send me some beats. Send him some beats. And he was like, okay, I'm sending it to Trey. He's riding with Pooh Bear. Just like that, got a placement. And it was like, we need to be here.
Yeah.
You know, these are the opportunities that you can miss if you're not here. And I think we were trying to, you know, send the time zones and the difference and the distance, but it wasn't effective. And from doing that and building the relationship with Pooh, we were like, okay, let's now start this run. And LA just opened its doors because we were there. We were getting called for sessions here and there. We were, you know, meeting the likes of like Howard Lilly, BJ Chicago Kid, Ty Dolla $ign, and
seeing like Rodney Jerkins.
Rodney Jerkins,
like,
yeah.
It was a lot happening. It was so fast. It's just like in LA, like deep end. It's either you sink or you swim, one or the other. And we were swimming. I'm not even gonna lie. Man was swimming
hard.
Man had them life jackets.
Jeez. So, you know, with the success comes, you know, the fruits, you know, and I think you're in LA, and you know, LA comes with its own aesthetic. LA comes with its own lifestyle, and again, we've come from Southeast London. You're going to red carpet events, you're seeing cars that you've never seen before.
Driving cars.
Then you now start driving the cars you've never had before, and like you said, you're in the deep end, and that has a lot of things. And I think, you know, one thing I'll definitely say, like, there is a lifestyle you can get lost in. In LA. We got a little bit lost in it. Just a smidget, just a little bit. You know?
You have to.
You have to experience it.
We had to experience it.
You know.
In what way did you guys get lost in it?
Brother, man. For example, this picture right now, Moses' birthday. It was like, is this your 30th? What year was this?
This is my 28th or 9th.
28th or 9th. Yeah. It was like, I'm getting this Bentley.
I'm getting it.
Moses, being Moses, he said, I'm getting the same car in black.
Yeah.
He literally did a J Hus thing. Like,
No.
He had the white one.
I had the white one.
He was driving around, he was like, I want to get the black one.
I got the black one.
Got the black
literally
one.
the day after. The day
Then,
after?
you know, like afterwards.
Two days after, yeah.
The celebration, and at the time I'm riding around in what am I driving?
BMW coupe.
BMW coupe convertible, driving around Sunset.
Yeah.
We're screaming down the road.
We were just.
And it's just lifestyle. We're in LA. His birthday, celebration. We're just on the freeway, just
going crazy.
dusting it. Just crazy. And it's just like, wow, we got here from music.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that realization of like,
That car was hard. I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at it, I'm like, raw. Then I sat in there in them red seats. I was like, hold on a second. You know? Yeah, bro. For real. It's. I think every person in their life has to experience this.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's a high.
It's a high. It's important to understand that, like, you know, you're allowed to have these moments. You're allowed to, like, you know, live the wildest dreams, whatever they are. You're allowed to. You know, obviously, don't get lost in it, but you're allowed to have a moment of it. I think that's important. And we did that. The trip wouldn't have. What it became wouldn't have been that if we didn't go through this part.
Yeah.
How did it not all just become too much?
I say 3 things with what you said with discipline. Definitely discipline. Like, you know, you seen your brother do the mad thing, you're like, yo, you did a bit too much. Like, let's calm it down, you know what I mean? And we also had harmony, so we're seeing homie being wise with his money, doing stuff, and it's like, I can't really, you have more than me. I can't really like be doing this and seeing you being wise. Let me chill, you know, and let me like understand what the long game is. And like you said earlier, I remember where I came from. You know, I remember like, you still have parents to look after, you still have siblings to look after. It's like, this is great. Within reason, you still have responsibilities, and you know, you grow during this time. You become mature, you become wiser with money, and then you meet people who are telling you, oh, you shouldn't do this with your money. I think you should invest.
Do this,
I think you should buy properties. I think you should do assets and all these things. And you're like, okay, cool. And also at the same time, we're still in the music industry. Like, sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. Sometimes you have high moments, everybody wants to work with you. Sometimes nothing is coming in, and you know, you're figuring out. So we just had to grow and be mature, and I think those components all around us just made us be like, okay, we've done it, it's out of our system, got burnt here and there, let's now, you know, jump back on the long game. But it was definitely a fun moment.
It was fun.
100%.
It was fun. It was fun as hell.
I mean, we lived in LA for what, 8 years?
8+.
8+ years, and in that time, man, we did work with Ty Dolla $ign, Jennifer Lopez, Justin Bieber, Trey Songz, Tiana Taylor, sorry, Janet Jackson, K-pop success, Usher,
Latin America,
you know, Della Ghetto. Like, what happened is, you then learn that there's other places outside of LA. So you're flying to New York, you're flying to Miami, then you know, you're doing camps out there, and then it's just like, wow, there really is a bigger world out here, you know, and our music just carried us into rooms, and then this person will tell somebody else, we'll meet writers, we'll meet, you know, other producers, and yeah, it's like the hunger we had to move over there was matched with the food that they presented to us, and we didn't leave the plate empty. 100%.
Hey boys, we're doing bad boys in the gang.
I forgot about that.
I actually forgot about that.
So, I think our manager at the time asked us randomly, she was like, have you guys ever gone to Nigeria? And no.
And she'd been going there consistently.
Yeah. And she was like, wait, you've never been? You've done LA, you've done London, you've never been back home. And I think it dawned on us at that point, like, wow, we've never actually been. We're 27, 28, we've never been. And I think that stems from family. You know, me personally, like the whole conversation was just like, you know, the family back home in Nigeria is this way. And
They're gonna kill you.
They have to protect their children. I remember my grandfather's like funeral, they said, don't bring their children, this and that, we've had prophecy and da-da-da-da. So at the time when you're young, you're like, okay, I'm not going. And then you grow up with this narrative that Nigeria is bad. So that's not a primary thing for you until when our manager was just like, yo, there's an opportunity for you to go to Nigeria and work with, you know, the artists at the time signed to Universal and do a camp. I was like, heck yeah. And use that moment to connect with my family and meet my grandmother for the first time and really be home. You know, like, it's different when you grow up in a community in London, but when you go to a place where everything is you.
Yeah. Everyone looks like
Everyone looks like you, from the music, the energy, the smell self. Like, you know, it was a sense of home, and it was just like, okay, there's something here we need to do. You know, we've done London, we've done LA. There's something in Lagos, Africa, this continent that we have to do. And that trip birthed that conversation.
Yeah, that started it.
Yeah.
That started it. It was surreal, you know. Like you said, my parents as well were very much like, Nigeria was a bad idea. Like, if I was ever gonna go to Nigeria, it would have to be with them. Like, I couldn't go by myself or with anybody else. And they had hidden us away from our culture, essentially who we were, where we were from, for good reason, you know. You know, they had left or had come from a state of fear, a state of, you know, uncertainty. So they didn't want to, you know, allow their kids in any way to experience that. And I remember just telling my mum, and she was like, Nigeria?
Same.
You want to go to Nigeria to
Same.
do what? What? Who's going with you? Who's your security? All of these questions that I had never even thought of was even gonna even be important.
Problem, yeah.
but you step there and you just feel like you're a part of something bigger.
Yeah.
I guess that's where the word purpose became very important. You know, you hear purpose being thrown around, but when you step into Nigeria, you feel that sense of responsibility. Like, this isn't even about me anymore. Like, if it began with me, it's not even about me anymore. It's through me, because there are other people that are looking to me subconsciously for guidance or for help. And that's what Nigeria meant to me. It's just like, all right, this is no longer about us. This is about more than us. We're just a part of what's about to happen. And we're seeing it now, you know? And you know, Don Jazzy's one of the, if not one of the GOATs.
What's going on here?
Went to his house.
Went to his house. We went to go meet him. You know, when you go to a territory, you respect the people that are there. We wanted to connect with him, and he received us with open arms. You know, we played him music, told him what we've been doing and stuff, and vice versa. And we were just like, look, how can we help where we can? You know, we just built the relationship. He even came out to LA and came to our studio. And, you know, saw what we were doing, and we were just like, okay, there's like-minded individuals like me doing and building, you know. But in this particular picture, I have no idea what's going on with the Kung-Fu team.
I think we just wanted to
just energy. It was just
it was
a great night.
Yeah, very down to earth uncle. Let me put it that way. Yeah, really down to earth. You know, was the one that led this whole Afro. Really helped start this thing.
Bare mist. That room was hot.
It was hot, bro.
That room was hot.
The room was hot, bro.
Yeah.
Fuzzy. Afrobeats has always been bubbling, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we grew up on it, you know, the Sunny Days, the Ebenezer Obeys, the Orlando Awards, like, it's always been bubbling. Afrobeat, let me be clear, because I know people will kill me.
They'll come and
Afrobeat.
Yeah.
Obviously, it became Afrobeats, and, you know, we grew up on the likes of Nice and
Like
Two-Face and
P-Square
and Timaya.
Yeah.
And these people. So, you know, and I mean, when you're at an all-African church, all you listen to is African praise every other day of the week.
This was natural to us.
So it was embedded in us. And then, you know, as time went on, I guess we started merging with Afrobeat artists. One of those artists being Kid Kuds.
Yeah.
And this was as a result of a song that we did with Kid Kuds that Tenny then jumped on.
Yeah.
And when we went to Nigeria, that was the first time that we had been in the studio with her like that. And we played a song, and it was just like, yeah, this is one of them ones.
And even with the Kid Kuds like relationship, we had made a record called Again. And prior to us coming to Nigeria this time, that record was going off in Lagos that December. So everybody was like, yo, this song is incredible. Like, who made it? Yeah, and everyone was just like, who made it? And it was us. So when we got to Nigeria, the reception was just like crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to connect with us, and we just was like, okay, this is now making sense to us, you know? It's mad because as I look at this picture,
It's emotional because she passed away recently. And I remember like that day going because first of all, it was a drive. It was like a 5-hour drive. And again, your mom's like, wait, you can't go and see, he's far, how are you gonna get there secure? I was like, Mom, there's no way I'm coming to Nigeria and I'm not gonna meet my grandma for the first time. But it was humbling. I think it made me realize that I've been blessed. You know, your parents leave a place for you to have opportunities, for you to be great, and you have no other choice to be great. And meeting this amazing woman of energy, praying for me, excited. I'm calling my mom, and my mom's having tears on the phone, I'm having tears. It's just like, hey, there is definitely something on this land that this music and this gift has brought me home for, you know? And I think, yeah, I'm truly grateful that I managed to meet this woman before she passed away.
And it just makes me look at music different, you know. It makes me like be very intentional now with my gift. It makes me understand the purpose, like you said earlier, like, you know. But yeah, may she rest in peace.
No, I had to look again because I was like,
So
yeah,
The camps.
the camps.
The camps.
Yeah, 2019 was really where the camp started,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's where we started putting on camps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we went in 2019, Universal Nigeria brought us out there, and they were putting on this camp where they were bringing all these known artists and up and coming artists
Yeah.
to do a camp with us, basically.
We had like.
We actually had Thames there.
Thames was there.
This
Thames-
was before Thames was even Thames.
Thames
She
was there. She even met her manager
She
now.
met Muyiwa there.
At the camp.
Yeah.
We was a close friend of ours.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they connected there. We had like Maestro, Mins was there.
Yeah.
We had Tiwo pulled up as well. Like we had a few people come. Adekunle Gold was there.
Yeah. It started. Yeah, that was where it started, and then it started becoming a tradition.
Yeah.
Where we would, go over there and put on these camps, and more recently we did this camp with PRS.
Yeah.
We put this camp on with PRS, and again, it's just going to Nigeria and just impacting and giving knowledge and giving these kids opportunities, and yeah, it's really become a thing, for where we source talent, But that whole Nigeria African thing started, really giving us a sense of identity, in my opinion. The food, man. Just remember the food.
The
man.
food was amazing.
The food was crack. The food was amazing, bro. The food was great, bro. That
Bro,
night, Shaq, that night after eating that food, bro, I had my
3 o'clock in the morning, all I heard was, get up. Get up and go to the toilet. Bro, when you pray to God like, please forgive me. I will never eat, because I ate 2. I overate.
Bro, and in Nigeria, you can't go
You can't
crazy
really go
like
too
that.
ham like that.
Food's too fresh, bro.
I was on the toilet just
Yeah,
praying. I did the same thing the next day.
Done.
You live and you learn, I think now it's just I'm in a knowing phase now.
Yeah, a self-awareness phase.
Self-awareness, I know the ability, there's no second guessing, there's no, are we good?
Yeah.
Or
No, we know we're good.
does this music, is it gonna work? No, we've gone past that, and I think it's like knowing what I know, what do I do now, where I'm
Right,
at?
yeah.
And I
How
think,
do I elevate?
how do I elevate? And I think it's, like I always say to you, it's like, invest this farm.
Yeah.
Invest in this farm.
Till your
like,
farm.
till this farm, like, make sure that this cup is full. Make sure all the ideas, all the songs that we want to do is done and executed to the point where it's just like it's undeniable.
Yeah.
And there's a peace of mind in that. I'm not going at anybody else's pace. I'm very like, I'm gonna do this today and I'm cool with that. I'm gonna do this tomorrow and I'm cool with that. And I think it's now birthing other ventures. It's now birthing different sides to us.
Yeah.
We know we're not just music producers. Mr. Fashionista. You're doing your thing. I see you with the hat and that, shining and that.
Appreciate that.
And I think with me, I'm more like going into the business and executive side, just because it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. And when you travel and you hear people's story with the business, you kind of be like, I want to go against that. There has to be somebody that's going to set up something to help other people in this creative industry, and birthed an agency from it, to facilitate creative services however we can. And yeah, I'm just at peace, man. I think I'm at peace. What about you?
Not that I don't know the answer, but I feel like I'm in transition. Yeah, transition just because, we've done things a certain way for a long time.
Yeah.
You said something recently, which was, this is the first time we've actually had to do live.
Yeah.
For like 10 plus years, all we've done is music. That's all we've known. So, this is the first time where it's like, okay, we're still doing music, but we're also doing.
Yeah.
And in that, it's been tough for me. And it's been tough because, like I said, like there's a comfortability that comes with doing this same thing day in and day out. And then when there isn't studio, it's like, okay, so what do I
What
do?
do I do? Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
there's no studio today. What does man do kind of thing? So it's been a transitional period, but a very necessary one because for all the dreams and aspirations that I have or we have as a collective, you know, there are moments where you have to slow down and stop and reevaluate and think and then implement. And we've been able to do that. I've been able to do that, you know. I've always loved fashion or dressing up or modeling or things in that same category. So, you know, being able to like walk LA Fashion Week and get castings in New York Fashion Week is something that like I wasn't even aware could happen as quick as it did. And it's happening. So yeah, very transitional, but very, very necessary. And it just shows the diversity in who we are as individuals and as collectives. Because no matter what, it always comes back to Sons of Sonix. You know, no matter how far he goes, no matter how far I go, Sons of Sonix is always at the forefront of that. And I think that's the beautiful thing about us as a collective is the individual gifts that we have that make SOS what it is. So yeah, growth spurt.
So what's coming?
Oh, a lot of things.
A lot of things.
I'm traveling, like I have to travel now. We have to definitely be on the plane. I think we're gonna be doing a lot of traveling, a lot of sessions around the world. And we're gonna put together a strong body of work for you guys. I think we're just at a point now where we can't say what we're doing. We're gonna show you, and, you know, and I think we're gonna put together an amazing project for everyone to enjoy. It's been a long time coming, you know, a long time coming, and I think it's time. It's time to pull it out, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's fun.
You know?
We've been working on it for a while, and no more waiting for people to tell us they're using them songs. We're using them songs.
Yeah,
that's what's happening. So, and just more growth in everything else that we're doing. So, exciting times ahead.
What's it been like looking back through your journey, looking back through where you've come from and just sitting down and speaking about it? What have you learned? How do you feel?
Just a sense of gratitude, man. I know we throw that word gratitude around loosely, but gratitude is the attitude, especially when you look at these photos and you remind yourself of why you started it in the first place. And it's a good indicator to know that you're on the right path. And it's also a good indication that God is on time.
That's what we did there. That's good. That's good. No, it's been amazing to see like the growth. You know, I remember these moments. You know, I remember like feeling a particular way, like wow, I was really low here, or you know, we found it very hard to just even understand ourselves as individuals. You know, so to look back and remember the success and the highs and the lows, the conversation is to basically keep going. You know, you're not always gonna know how it's gonna pan out. You're not always gonna have everything you need at that moment, but when the opportunity is there for you, it's because you're ready to take it. And I think where we are now is to definitely take the opportunities, you know. So yeah, it's been a crazy experience. I can't lie, seeing you without a beard is
crazy.
It's a bit brazy still. You did look like David, my guy.
Young David.
I'm not gonna lie.
David.
But yeah, it's been fun.